over a decade, Kevin Parker has meticulously sculpted every sonic detail of the Tame Impala project, crafting immersive, psychedelic soundscapes that are defined by the lush layers and the obsessive ear or eye for perfection. But after 5 years of silence, his latest album, Deadbeat, reveals an almost evolution with Imperfection. Kevin Parker, the once perfectionist, is trying to make an album that is imperfect.
It's the one that's like the truest to me because it's so stripped back. It's so, to me, it's so raw. Like the first few minutes are it's like uncomfortably raw for me. You know, almost everything's put through a guitar amp. I was obsessed with putting drum machines through guitar amps, vocals through guitar amps, synth through guitar amps. You know, I just wanted to have this really grainy, raw sound.
Deadbeat's predecessor, The Slow Rush, an album that explored themes of time and nostalgia, had a very maximalist synth pop production to it, and that shows the evolution from album to album, and that's one of the things I think myself and many others love Kevin Parker and Tame Impala's music for, is the evolution from album to album. But it was obvious that Kevin was kind of feeling creatively drained. He was stating in interviews that he had kind of forgotten what it felt like to be his own artist, and the 5-year gap wasn't just a delay between albums. It was probably a period of self-reflection during which Parker also became a father, which is obviously a big deal in anyone's life and will change kind of how you view the world. And the arrival of his daughter in 2021 probably forced a shift in perspective, and the responsibility of fatherhood probably introduced new anxieties alongside moments of profound joy.
I mean, it changes everything about you. It changes your perspective on everything. And me and my being and my perspective is what goes into my music. So I'm not always aware of exactly what it is. And I haven't really sung about being a parent. And I haven't really sung about kids at all, really. I guess mainly because for me, the music that I most enjoy making, it's sort of there's sort of a melancholy to it, and having a child is such a beautiful, joyful thing. There's not much negativity you can extract from it.
But when Parker rediscovered the bush stuff rave scene of his native Western Australia, these parties characterized by their raw, unpolished energy stand in stark contrast to the slick, festival-ready productions that Tame Impala had kind of been putting on for the last couple years. This tension between professional perfection and personal, unfiltered expression became the central conflict of Deadbeat. He set aside his perfectionist tendencies, embracing a more spontaneous and more direct electronic sound, even if it meant risking the approval of longtime fans.
Is just shaking up expectations.
Yeah.
Even though at this point I was pretty sure it wouldn't, it was kind of just it was obvious that I was going to do something electronic. You know, to me it just sort of made sense. I don't know what the fans going to think and what they think the trajectory that I'm on is, but for me it was kind of obvious, even though it's you hear Tame Impala sort of techno, and it's oh.
For years, Parker was known as the ultimate perfectionist, the kind of producer who would spend weeks fine-tuning a snare hit or EQing a synth tone until it sounded just right, and even going into certain albums a week before they were due and changing the mixing and mastering. But with Deadbeat, he flipped that entire process on its head. In a recent interview, he mentioned wanting to leave the mistakes in, describing how he'd record vocals in one take or just let songs breathe without overproducing. It's a radical move for someone who's built his identity on sonic persistence and kind of this perfect world that he builds with these albums. But that shift isn't just technical, it's not him being lazy, it's almost philosophical. For Parker, imperfection became honesty. The rough edges, the uneven transitions, the ambient noise between tracks, they all serve as proof that he's no longer hiding behind being polished. It's Kevin Parker unfiltered and raw. So yeah, maybe this album isn't perfect, and I can understand maybe some of the criticisms people are going after this album for, but The imperfection is why I like this album, and the way that the imperfections of the production connect to the lyrical themes is just really cool to me, and that's why I wanted to talk about this album, and I wanted to do this video because it really fascinates me. Like his previous records, there's a lot to dive into, and not just with the production or the lyrical content, but everything surrounding the album and kind of what it means for Kevin Parker's life, and just kind of an interesting character study as far as this album goes. So I want to talk about Deadbeat, obviously.
A sick satisfaction from being hard on myself in my lyrics. You know, I guess that's no secret, really. But for me, it's like it's freeing, you know, to make beautiful music and then put a sticker on it that says that, like, piece of shit. It just, to me, it's like it gives all of that meaning.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it gives all those feelings that have sort of like followed me around my whole life. It gives them purpose and sort of like flips them around.
Deadbeat's title is a self-deprecating reference to Kevin Parker's own insecurities and fears, both as an artist and an extension of him as a person. Throughout the album, he uses the new sonic landscape to convey very complex and emotional themes and states. The album's opening track, Mild Ways, serves as a mission statement for the album, a delicate, intimate piano line that evokes a feeling of solitude. Parker's falsetto confuses the audience with, like, what's going on? This is not the Tame Impala I know. And he repeats, so here I am once again, feel no good, I must be out of excuses, I knew I would. This vulnerability is immediately swallowed by a pulsing house-inspired beat. In the chorus, a sonic representation of his anxiety returning and being masked by a frantic, almost panicked energy. This pattern is a core part of the album, with moments of raw introspection being interrupted by disoriented, funky sounds of dancing and just music that would work in a club or just a live setting where things are just so overstimulating that you don't have the chance to think. Back into my old ways again. The electronic dance influence is drawn from the bushed off scene, and you might just look at that, okay, he likes the music, he's inspired by that, but for me, I think this really represents kind of a metaphorical kind of state that Parker is in emotionally. Tracks like Not My World convey a sense of disconnection even while surrounded by others. As Parker sings, people going home they walk by must be nice, makes me realize it's not my world. The muffled club-like beat makes the music feel like a distant party he is observing but not participating in. He embraces the role of the outsider, the deadbeat, who is still processing complex feelings, even as everyone around him is lost in the moment and dancing. But all these themes of isolation and loneliness are not new. They've been following him since the beginning of Tame Impala. Specifically on Lonerism, that whole album is basically about being an outsider. Even by the album cover, it's Kevin Parker taking a picture of a whole bunch of people on a grass in Paris, and he's just observing. He's looking from a distance, but he's alone. And unlike Lonerism, where the loneliness felt romanticized, Deadbeat makes it almost heavier. It's kind of a more adult version of Lonerism, that it kind of comes with the fame, the fatherhood, and the fatigue of all these emotions that have been with him for his whole life. Despite its anxious and self-deprecating tone, the album finds a sense of acceptance. The track Afterthought finds Parker fed up with being treated as a disposable. Its faster tempo, pushing his frustrations forward. The album's final song, End of Summer, begins with a wistful, almost nostalgic chord progression before transforming into a more upbeat, electronic closing number. This final transformation from melodic pop to house kind of suggests that his anxieties and inner conflicts may persist, but he's found a new way of accepting them and being comfortable with his insecurities and anxieties. He is learning to dance in his own darkness. This is why this is probably the most human Tame Impala record. And yeah, I relate to albums like Lonerism and Currents and even The Slow Rush, but this album feels the most human because the production kind of takes a step back with maybe the vulnerabilities and the insecurities kind of coming to the forefront. It's not trying to be with every frequency and every snare hit, everything is just perfect on the record, but he's finally trying to just feel the music and be raw and just honest. And sometimes the truest sound is when it's not perfect. That is the most human that we can be.
Feelings that I've had in my life of like being a dropout, being a deadbeat, being hopeless, being a space cadet. That's still how I feel. You know, I still feel like I'm sort of constantly therapying myself against these feelings.
So yeah, we could talk about the themes of self-deprecation, insecurities, anxiety all day long, and I'll even talk about that even more later. But every Tame Impala album has its own sonic fingerprint. There's always kind of something going on with the production, and we could talk about the lyrical content all day, but what does the music actually sound like? And Deadbeat sounds, well, unfinished, and that's the point. That's what I was talking about. Instead of chasing the pristine mixes, Parker recorded many of the tracks live to tape, complete with like the hiss and the clipping and even the little ambience that's at the end of a lot of the tracks. You can literally hear the tracks ending themselves. Like it's a cool little detail within the record to just hear at the very end he's actually ending the song. And he described it as letting the dirt stay in, a direct rebellion against his old perfectionist habits. The drums are crunchy and compressed. Think inner speaker but flattened through lo-fi house filters. Now obviously I have to talk about the Bushdoff scene because that was a big influence on this record production wise. And if you don't know, the Bushdoff scene is a type of outdoor rave in rural Australia known for its hypnotic rhymes and communal energy. And you can hear that influence all over the record, but specifically a song like Not My World has kind of that 4 on the floor beat with the bass line and the repetitive synths that really like mimic the kind of endless nature of outdoor DJ sets. And in interviews, Kevin Parker has said that the Bushdoff scene reminded him why music exists. It's not perfect, but it connects. And I think that is a perfect quote to describe this record. It's not perfect, but it connects, at least to me.
Yeah, I just have an endless fascination for that sort of way of experiencing music and experiencing life. I'm really enamored by the freedom and it's just they're just totally off the grid. It's just people in another world for a short amount of time. I just like that really resonates with me.
In a club or in a space where it's loud and there's lots of people, you realize how potent music that is simple and only has a few elements is. It's like when you play a song in a club that's like got tons of layers and the drums aren't very loud, it noticeably doesn't connect. It doesn't have that presence and impact.
Musically, Deadbeat takes a lot of different influences. I hear some like Chemical Brothers, maybe even some Aphex Twin with like the drum programming. Daft Punk's Homework is kind of reminiscent in this record with the lo-fi grooves, and even like some ambient moments are similar to Aphex Twin. But yeah, Kevin Parker obviously listens to so much music and he has so many influences on this record.
I listen to a lot of different music these days. I went through a period of listening to just like only 70s Turkish music about a year ago for a few months.
And while I can dissect and talk about the different influences on this record, the different production choices, that would be all cool. But I'm honestly more interested in kind of the unpolished version of this record and kind of the imperfect version of this record, because that is what makes this record so special. That's what prompted me to make this video, because I was just so interested in how kind of it's almost an album trying to achieve imperfection, like the hisses, the clips in the beginning, the vocal takes. It's proof that he's kind of let go of this pursuit of perfectionist and he wants to kind of be more free and spontaneous, and I think that is really just what makes this record so interesting.
Always did, if you did the same thing as you did last time that was successful, you would know exactly what's going to happen. you'd know who's going to like it. You'd know, the future would already be written. So one of the things that's sort of like that can be very nerve-wracking about like just changing a sound is that you don't know what people are going to think, but that's also the exciting thing.
The reception for Deadbeat has been mixed. I've seen some negative reception, I've seen some positive reception, because I'm not a very online person. I'm not on Twitter, I'm not on social media, so I don't really know. But scrolling through YouTube to try to find video for this video, I've just seen like Anthony Fantano's review with the red flannel. I didn't watch it, but he is a big voice in kind of the music commentary and music review kind of scene. So I'm assuming the reception for this record is not great compared to the other Tame Impala records, but and I understand why maybe some people would think songs like Dracula or Loser are just kind of boring and basic and not really going in somewhere that's interesting. But it's hard to live up to the expectations of the other Tame Impala albums, and that is a big thing that I like about Tame Impala, is the evolution from album to album. Currents is not the same as Slow Rush, Inner Speaker is not the same as Lonerism. They build off of each other. There's elements that are still there from each record, and I like how Kevin has kind of made a Tame Impala world that can all kind of fit within one catalog, even if album to album the sounds and the genres are very different. It does kind of fit in this one world, but I'm getting off track. Deadbeat is a great album to me because of its imperfection, while also having songs like Dracula and Loser on it that are these big pop moments. There is kind of a nice contrast that I like on this record. It's not just all demos, and the word imperfect has been used in this video a lot. It's probably annoying by this point, but I love the contrast between the imperfect and the polished songs. So yeah, I love this record. I connected with it super fondly, and the other thing about a Tame Impala record is it takes a while for me at least to kind of understand the record and live with it. The Slow Rush took a while. I had to really live with it and go out and have experiences with the album, and now I just have such a fond memory of that record and have experiences, and it's grown with me, and I think people need to let Deadbeat breathe. Obviously I'm making this video dissecting it, but to give a review on a Tame Impala album like a week after is not the best thing to do, in my opinion, because it needs time to breathe, and he is a real artist. And like I said, I understand the negative reception towards this record, but what I don't understand is how some fans of Tame Impala still want the psychedelic rock from Inner Speaker or Lonerism. I don't get that at all. How have you been a Tame Impala fan? You take an album, Currents, Slow Rush, like every album is an evolution, and if you haven't picked up on that, I don't know if Tame Impala is for you, at least the new stuff. And again, back to my point, it's hard to live up to expectations, especially an album like Currents, which is so highly regarded, like even not just Tame Impala fans, music listeners, even a lot of young people love Currents. Like that is such a defining album of the last like decade. It's so highly regarded that I'm still surprised he makes music, to be honest. I mean, obviously he's an artist who's going to continue to make music, but I would compare Currents to like a Blonde by Frank Ocean, and we know what's happened to Frank Ocean. He has disappeared. Or even artists like Bon Iver, Daft Punk, they make these big critically acclaimed albums, but then they kind of feel pressure to live up to that, and then they just don't make music. So I'm not saying like, bro, be grateful that we're getting Tame Impala music. I'm not saying that, but I am glad that he is still making great music, at least to me, and I'm still enjoying the output he is putting out. And I would even argue, at least for me personally, intention of music is sometimes more important than the actual music, and that's not to undermine the music, but for me personally, I'm honestly more interested in what was the intention, what's the concept, what was this artist trying to say, rather than just judging the music itself.
To me, the message or the reason that the album is so relevant to me is that these feelings and these sort of things that you see yourself as, they're not things that go away when you reach, success. Me calling the album Deadbeat is kind of like it's like glorifying it. It's like a celebration of it. I think I already said this in the Triple J interview a couple of weeks ago, but it's like a way of, celebrating it. Yeah.
Deadbeat may have polarized critics and fans, but its artistic statement is clear. It's the sound of an artist choosing raw honesty over polished perfection. A document of Kevin Parker confronting his anxieties and embracing his imperfections. He is no longer just the meticulous sonic architect, he is also the deadbeat who knows he doesn't have all the answers. The result is an album that feels both alien and deeply personal, proving that even a perfectionist can be liberated in letting go. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to support the channel, be sure to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment. What is your favorite song from Deadbeat? And just leave any comment about Tame Impala. I'd love to discuss and have a little space to talk about Tame Impala and just geek out. And what are your thoughts on this album? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Did you agree with me in this video? Let me know. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.